morning to you. You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. I'm your host. My name is Precious Mzea Sakaleji, and joining me on set this morning is Michael Chota. Now, we've got so many things fully planned for you, making sure that you're updated with what has been happening with current affairs and also things that you have not been aware of or you have not actually heard of on the news, and just catching you up on what has been happening in the course of the week. Today we're not having a topic of discussion. We'll have different clips, things that happened during the week, so you can decide to comment on whichever topic that you feel is comfortable. So we've got so many things aligned for you. Hi.
Morning, Precious. How are you?
I'm hungry. No, I'm not hungry. I'm lying.
You're hungry?
I'm lying.
Yes.
I had my breakfast.
You had breakfast today?
Yes.
Well done, mommy. Well
Did
done.
you?
I had.
What did you have?
I just had like a small snack. It was just some biscuits.
You nibbled?
I nibbled
Can
some
never
biscuits.
be me. Can never be me. How was your week? How was your week?
My week was cool. Very busy week.
Oh,
A lot
yeah?
has been happening.
What were you up to?
Yeah, just work stuff and
Top 10 countdown shows.
top 10
started.
countdown shows. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. New stuff.
For those that don't know about it.
For those that don't know about it, the top 10 countdown, Camnet TV top 10 countdown comes every Friday at 12:45 hours, and the repeat comes on Sunday at 13 hours. So that's what on the latest.
What's the show about?
The show is basically counting down the top 10 music videos, gospel music videos, in Zambia, in Africa, and around the world.
Oh, okay, so it's both local and international.
Both local and international. The viewers get to vote in, send in their requests, and there's a power play section where we get to play whatever they want to request.
Can in-house calling to just request?
You can call in. You can even send in your video. Just make a video, you singing, dancing.
To my favorite song.
To your
okay,
favorite
dancing
song.
I'll cut on.
Your favorite song.
I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'll cut on the dancing part. That's really good. You know, for the fan of it, I'm going to actually request with a video. Yes.
You're welcome.
I'm going to you mime or you do an a cappella to the song and then send it.
Sing. Don't do a cappella. Sing for us.
I can't sing.
Give us.
I can't sing. I can't sing for.
Yeah.
I really. No, I can try. Look at Amanda is just looking at me and But anyways, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, well, the countdown show is on Camnet TV. Something that you need to look out for. We are actually planning on surprising you with something big coming soon on your screen, so you just need to stay locked. As you know, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now, quickly just getting into what we have for you. You know, every Saturday when we come to you on the breakfast show, the morning boost is where we make sure that we help you boost your immune by working out. So if you have a workout partner, well, call them and tell them the morning boost is about to start. On the other side, we'll be having a guest that will come to you and just discuss on certain issues. Just quickly before we get into the morning boost, we're looking out for the president actually flying out of the country to the United States of America for the UN Assembly using a commercial flight. Okay, so now there has been some talks because he during his campaign period, he said he's going to sell the presidential jet. Okay, so we are waiting to hear on that. So many talks, different stakeholders, mixed emotions and stuff like that. And not forgetting Rafael Nakachinda has been making headlines, and this one actually got really to me, saying that the current ruling government talking about gay rights, because now he's traveling to the US, so he's been in contact with countries that actually support the LGBT community. Well, the government actually refuted the claims that will also be coming through on the other side. Not forgetting different topics, and also the firing of government officials.
Yeah, senior government officials, yes. You
know, it's actually funny, there was a conversation to say you were working on a Monday. Okay, for example, on a Monday you were working, you prepared for your work for the following day, only to be fired at
the
10
next
hours.
day. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but it happens.
It's changed. It's changed. It's a new government. They have got certain way they want to put up their house. Parliament resumed.
Yes.
The debates are quite amazing. I need to remember the name of one of the members of Parliament, very young person that was very vocal during the debates.
Yeah.
And also, I saw Bowman Lusambo actually debating
Yes, in
That
Parliament.
was my first time.
Yes.
That was my first time.
Not your first time watching.
That was my first time seeing women assemble debate.
It's very exciting. Usually we just watch for the hey. That
Yeah.
That's what we usually
Anyway,
watch.
quickly, let's just get into the morning boost and then we'll continue with the conversation on the other side. Good morning.
It's a beautiful morning and I welcome you to Morning Boost. I'm so glad that you've tuned in and hope you had a great night. So let's do some workouts this morning and we're going to have a great time. So we're going to start with a warm-up and then make some aerobics movements for today. Okay, ready? Let's go. A beautiful morning to everybody and welcome to Morning Boost. Let's go. Go. And the V step now. Let's go. Last V step. Back to step touch. V step. Let's go. Let's go. And marching. And 4, 3, 2, step touch, go. Bring in your hands now. Let's go. Let's go. Just a quick workout in the morning. Not a full-fledged workout, no. Keep going. And 4, 3, 2, hamstring, go. Four, 3, 2, step touch. Four, 3, 2, and hamstring. And 4, 3, 2, step touch. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Keep going. Stay at it. Go. Easy basic workouts for the morning. And marching. Skip, jump now. Go. Let's go. Skip. Try this. Even if you feel heavy in your body, you can do this. Let's go. There's always a first time. You may struggle, but it's doable. Let's go. And 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Change now. Let's go. Very easy for a morning workout. Lift your knee very high. Go. Let's go. Stay at it. Stay at it. We're going to bring in a kick now from a knee high to a kick. Go. Go. Let's go. Let there be a blood circulation on your legs so that you don't have that numbness you feel at times. Kick, kick, kick. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Straight kicks now, go. Straight kicks. Go in the sides. Okay, keep going. Almost done with our 5 minutes workout. Knee high. Try this every morning. It's gonna do wonders to your body. Let's go, we're almost there. All right, team. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. This is Isaac Matsa, your presenter. I'm gonna see you next time at the same time, and have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.
Welcome back. Well, Michael was just moving his toes.
I was exercising. Yeah?
Trying to. I
Morning
don't even know
boost.
what that's called. He was moving his toes, literally, like you could see. Kangaroo kind of exercise. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what are you doing? When was the last time you exercised?
In the morning.
When was the last time you exercised?
Just now. Just now.
Anyway, like I always say after the morning boost section, if you have an opportunity to actually work out during the week, you get to understand yourself first before you start working out. There are those people that prefer working out in the morning, or those that prefer working out after work. Personally, working out in the morning will just make me doze the whole day at work. So I prefer doing it after work, just some 30 minutes of exercise and you're good.
Yeah, it's always good for the body to exercise, you know. You need to relax, especially with all the stress.
We're not talking about the exercise where you're moving your toes, Michael. Like actual
pressures. It's exercise. What's
actual jumping jacks.
Hey, step by step. You have to start small and then build up like that. So next, I'll do my fingers next.
Let's get to your starting small. What is your starting small?
The toes, okay. You just flex the toes.
Why are you flexing the toes, Michael?
So that you release blood to the legs. Precious, don't judge me. What's wrong with you?
I don't.
I've refused.
He literally just said you exercise your toes so that the blood moves to your legs.
To your legs. You have to circulate. Okay, that's how when you exercise, it's all about blood circulation.
Are you listening to yourself right now?
Monday, I've tried. I've tried.
But anyways, so don't wait for us to come to you on Saturdays with the morning boost before you can exercise. You can do long walks, you can do the joggings. Just make sure that you carry a bottle of water and also some music, which helps with the pace. You don't really have to stress yourself about it, and just eat healthy. At least eat some fruits in a week. Even a week has but 7 days. At least 3 days in the 7, eat a fruit. Don't wait for when you are on the sick bed, because Zambian mentality, when someone is sick,
that's when you want to be eating oranges.
Yes, there was a joke on a lighter note. When I was in town one of these days, a man was eating a banana, and then his friend came to ask him, what do I
It's only when you're sick, that's when you want to be healthy.
Exactly. But anyways, make sure that just eat healthy, avoid fatty foods, junk food as well. Don't be like me, and I eat fruits, but sometimes the junky food just get on the side of me. But anyways, getting into the current affairs and what has been happening, we all know that the NDC party, that's the National Democratic Party, where we had Dr. Chishimba Kambudi as the president. Then he resigned and joined the then ruling party, which is the Patriotic Front, now the opposition party. There has been fight with the Joseph Akafumba camp and the Savoy Imboela camp with who should be president, who had what meeting. So they've been having in-house fights for a very long time. One party wanted to support, or one party not wanted to support, one party was supporting the opposition Patriotic Front presidential candidate, which is President Edgar Lungu, and then the other party was actually, or is, I stand to be corrected, in the UPND alliance. There has been so many talks from different stakeholders about this party. I remember passing a comment to say, I love it when political parties are fighting, okay? not forgetting the MMD as well. Fighting. There's a camp that is calling itself Save the MMD, and then there's the New Hope MMD where Dr. Nevis Mumba is the president and stuff like that. Personally, I find it very interesting when political parties are fighting, because then it allows me to understand what type of people they are and how they would behave if they were to rule the country.
True.
Okay, so imagine you are having, I remember this incident, we were approaching the election time. It was talks about elections and before the campaigns were actually announced. There were two camps, okay? Joseph Akafumba and Savoy Imboela. The Savoy Imboela camp took the Joseph Akafumba camp to court. Some ruling was passed, but still. So now this time around, the NDC interim president Joseph Akafumba actually called for a meeting so that they put their differences aside and let the party get back on its feet. So certain party members didn't attend the meeting, so they were banished.
You know, these things of factions within political parties, it's actually quite common. There's always going to be that disagreement, that friction of ideologies within the party. It's normal, but as long as at the end, especially when it comes to election time, you resolve those issues and you move past that. But NDC, as you say, has been very, very interesting.
It's been back and forth. It was very common before as we were approaching elections. I think 4 or 5 months before the 12th August election. We also had fights with the NAREP had fights of who should stand as a presidential candidate. Not forgetting which other party had problems. I'm trying to see.
The internal faction issues.
MMD, NDC, NAREP, I'm trying to think of the other ones. But anyways, even the Patriotic Front had fights because there are two camps. The Kalmanshi camp, apparently he was accused of supporting the UPND while he was for the Patriotic Front. Those were allegations. So I remember he attended one of their rallies. And then I think that was the time they were announcing Chishimba Kambwili coming to the Patriotic Front. So there were fights. Cars were destroyed. People were beaten very, very bad. But anyways, that's just on the other side of what has been happening with different political parties and their in-house fights. But currently, right now, the one that's trending is the NDC party, where Joseph Akafumba actually banished some party members for not attending this particular meeting. In case you missed out, here's a clip.
Internal wrangles in the opposition National Democratic Party keep being subject to debate by members of the public due to its uncertainty in leadership structures, especially when the party was abandoned by its president Chishimba Kambwili, who joined the Patriotic Front. Since then, the party can be described as orphaned, having two factions. However, the vice president who took over the presidency, Joseph Akafumba, has held on to the party against all odds. After months of confusion within the party, Joseph Akafumba has put an end to the two factions, declaring that there is only one NDC. This came to light after a meeting held in Lusaka, where 5 other members have been banished from the party for failing to appear for the meeting, among other reasons.
Resolved that those who have deliberately chosen to stay away, we are removing them immediately because we want to build this party. So they belong to the annals of history. For 2 reasons. Reason number 1, for deliberately staying away without any reason or apology for failing to attend this very important meeting. Secondly, for having connived and met in Dola and forged, this borders now on criminality, and forged the attendance of one Victor Mangaida as having attended that meeting to consolidate their position to throw us out. So these minutes as they stand are illegal and they are subject of police investigation. We will not rest, we want to bring this matter to book because our government, as UPND Alliance, is a government of laws. We do not want to take the law in our own hands. We will let the people who are specialized in handling matters of criminal nature pursue this matter.
But Charles Kawita, who has been banished, has called on all party members to ignore the meeting held in Lusaka, led by Akafumba Mwenyamusenge, among other officials.
We wish to inform our members to ignore the meeting that was held in Lusaka, because Mr. Akafumba was long expelled together with Madam Bridget Atanga. Mwenyamusenge, if you recall, left the party and they recommended to the Registrar of Society that the party be deregistered. Stephen Chewa also left the party together with Mr. Mwenyamusenge. The intentions were the same. So we, as office bearers, there was no need for us to attend that meeting because the people that called for that meeting are not NDC. Mwenyamusenge left, Chewa left, Mr. Akafumba, we expelled him a long time ago, together with Madam Bridget Atanga.
Meanwhile, one of the NDC members has threatened to sue Charles Kawita for forging his signature at a meeting he allegedly attended, which had resolved to change office bearers on the Copper Belt, when in fact, note.
And looking furthermore, I checked, even my signature was forged. And I'll make sure this person, I report to the police. This is my name there, and they have forged my signature here. You can see. I'll make sure the person who wrote this be arrested. I'm assuring you, will be arrested.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. Do you think they deserve to be banished from the party?
It's actually quite interesting. One side is saying, no, this one they forged my signature. The other one is like, no, these ones we're going to let the police deal with them. It's back and forth.
Political party fights are quite...
back and forth.
Yeah, I get to have fun. I remember being asked by one of my colleagues to say, why do you find excitement when political parties are fighting? For me, it just exposes them. It exposes their behavior.
Yeah, but I think the goodness from that particular clip is that at least both sides are saying, listen, we're going to allow the police, the rule of law, to take charge. They don't just dispute and take matters into their own hands.
No, we're waiting because they like court.
Yeah,
they like back and forth court sessions. I feel it's tiring.
Court is expensive.
It is very expensive. But anyways, moving on to our next story that has been making headlines for a very long time. We're talking about the presidential jet. Okay, which is I was fought for trying to find out what type of jet it is. The Gulfstream G650 2018 until present. It carries about 11 to 18 passengers now, which was bought by the former Republican president Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and there were some promises by the current president to say once he gets into power he is going to sell the jet. Now I looked it up on the internet, and it's worth 65 million US dollars. Yes. So that's quite a lot of money. So there has been talks. I remember last week on the breakfast show we talked about, if not last week it should have been the other week, where we talked about if the presidential jet should be sold or not, and half of the people said that they want the presidential jet to be sold so that the funds can actually be allocated to sectors that need the money. So now the president, the Republican president, is supposed to travel to the United States for the UN Assembly, and he said or announced there has been an announcement that he is opting to use a commercial flight.
Yes. The president did state that. I would assume it's more for economic principles. You want to use a commercial flight, but this presidential jet debate, it's been very hot. It's been very hot. One side is saying sell the jet to build up costs. Others are like, no, keep the jet because it's a presidential jet. It's not just any other jet.
And also personally, I'm looking at the security of the president.
Exactly.
I feel there's some special there's a special security if it's a private jet.
Exactly.
Unlike a commercial jet. There has been talks, they're trying to cut on costs. That's the main reason why they opted to use the commercial. And of course, Raphael Nakachinda has been on the neck of the ruling party. Talk of them, the main promise which people are looking forward to, which is free education. So they're also saying if the presidential jet is sold, some money will be allocated to the free education. Now the question was asked to say, who is going to be benefiting from the free education? Is it just everybody that goes to school? Maybe there is a category of certain people that will actually benefit from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there were some circles on the free education part where it could be implemented in stages. Some would say maybe from grade 1 to grade 9 for this particular budget, and then for the next budget you move on to maybe grade 12, and then the next budget could be tertiary education, rather than to roll out the entire free education for all across, because it'll be quite expensive actually to do that, you know.
It will be very expensive. And also I think if I'm going to give you free education, I know the country will benefit after some years.
Definitely.
Which marries the topic of bursaries. You don't just dash out bursaries. Now, you need to have merits.
And on that same part,
Yes.
the president, during his parliamentary speech, he had mentioned that bursary should be given out on merit to deserving students who they can prove that, okay, we can't.
I agree on that one, because honestly speaking, it doesn't make sense if a minister's child gets bursary. Okay, so I am trying to figure out how that was even possible, because there are people that desperately need that.
Yes.
But now that certain measures are being put in place, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that is being considered.
Yes.
And also, just before we get into the private jet clip, I've lost my thought. But I have lost
about the cost of the jet.
No, not the cost.
Or the selling of the jet.
Yeah. You know what? I'll remember. Let's take a look at this clip. I'll come back with a thought after this.
All right.
Various platforms, both traditional and social media, have been awash with debates surrounding the presidential jet Gulfstream G650, estimated at a cost of 65 million United States dollars. President Hakainde Hichilema, when in opposition, promised the Zambian people that once elected, selling the jet would be one of the party's priorities, adding that many sectors of the economy were in need of urgent funding. Different stakeholders have been accusing the UPND of ditching the campaign promise now that they have taken up leadership. UPND national spokesperson Mr. Cornelius Mwetwa, however, has clarified that plans to sell the jet are still intact, adding that they're currently putting all papers in order so as to sell the jet. He further says the head of state is also to attend the forthcoming United Nations UN General Assembly in the United States of America, USA, using a commercial flight in order to show government's commitment to cost cutting.
What the president then, as presidential candidate, promised the people of this country remains to be what it is today, that the presidential jet will be a consideration and subject of sale as such. Latest position is that that position, as was given before elections, remains as it is. No change whatsoever. His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will not be using this presidential jet going to attend the UN General Assembly. Instead, he will be traveling using normal flights.
Mr. Mwetwa has also clarified on the promise of free education, alleging that the former ruling Patriotic Front, PF, left the party in intensive care unit ICU, which means that free education is dependent on funding.
They have got a right to demand of their government to do that which the citizens were promised, but such demands must correlate with reason and logic, that certain things can only be done with time in line with a functioning economy. Our colleagues, the Patriotic Front left Zambia's economy in ICU. And therefore, to deliver on the social sector front, on those sectors that are consumption-based, there is need to resuscitate the economy and build buoyancy in the economy and the resilience for the economy to attain a state of equilibrium.
Meanwhile, a governance expert, Mr. Ruben Lifuka, has cautioned the UPND against the head of state using commercial flights, stating that this could jeopardize his safety.
They just need to approach this cautiously. Yes, the things that they said during the campaign, which are important, but they need to now turn that with reality, talk to the experts, make a decision not out of emotions or political excitement, but make decisions that are necessary and are prudent for the country.
He adds that not every promise can be fulfilled and has advised the UPND to counter-check with experts on security before taking such steps. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So yeah, we're waiting to hear the final talks and when the presidential jet will finally be sold.
Yeah, true, but it's issues, again, it will be issues of national security because...
So now my question is, when it's sold, what is he going to be using? Is he going to stick to commercial flights?
Yeah, would that be a sustainable way of moving?
Is that secure? Is it safe?
It all goes back to national security at the end of the day, because you look at places like the United States of America, right, where the president has Air Force One. Air Force One is designed in a certain way that won't even go into the details. Anti-missile machinery. It's very safe for the president to move from one area to the other, especially where there's conflict between countries.
Maybe they will buy something, I don't want to say cheaper, something at a reasonable price.
True.
Maybe. I don't know what their plan is, because honestly speaking, I feel a president is supposed to be treated in a certain way. There are certain privileges that he needs to enjoy. One of them is having his own plane. So if this one is going to be sold, how is the security with the ones that he's going to be using?
Exactly.
We wait to find out and hear what the final decision will be, but there are talks of the presidential jet being sold because during the campaign period, the then presidential candidate for the United Party for National Development, who is now the Republican, 7th Republican president of Zambia, said when he comes into power, he's going to sell the presidential jet. So now there has been some talks of why he should sell it and why he shouldn't sell it, but we'll wait to hear what the final decision will be. Now moving on to Project Binoculars by Raphael Nakachinda, where he has been lack of better terms, eyeing the ruling Patriotic Front and actually doing his checks and balances. He mentioned when he launched his project to say he will have cars in different provinces just to check on the progress with the UPND campaign promises, and one of them the promises he's been sitting on is the one for free education. But this time around, there were claims from Mr. Raphael Nakachinda to say that the current government is in support of gay rights and also the LGBT community. So after that, a speech, what do you call it? Press briefing from the new Minister of Information and Media, Madam Chusi, where she was denying, claims that the government, the current government, is actually in support of gay rights. So we'll play the clips back to back, and then coming up after that, we'll talk about the thought that I lost before we had the presidential jet plan, and talking about free education and also bursaries was of the tenders. That will also come through just after this clip.
The man with binoculars Wednesday held a press briefing to discredit various pronouncements made by the United Party for National Development, UPND. Patriotic member of the Central Committee, Raphael Nakachinda, has employed the church, traditional leaders and women to wake up and stand for their rights. Mr. Nakachinda says UPND administration has sidelined them through the abolishment of some ministries.
We want to say that wake up Zambia, wake up the church, wake up the traditional leaders. You had been brought on the table through the Ministry of Chiefs and Traditional Affairs, on the table to make decisions in cabinet, influence through the House of Chiefs. But now you have been relegated back to just under local government, to just do your traditional rituals if you can. And that is your business now.
He has since accused the UPND of dancing to the tune of their funders.
Though of late it looks like African presidents have been diluted. The time of the Mugabes, the time of the Gaddafis, the times of those solid African leaders that were championing the cause of Africa on that platform, somehow are diminishing each and every day. Because the majority of African leaders have turned out to be puppets of imperialists. And unfortunately, Zambia seems to be proving that we may have just elected a puppet of imperialists.
He says all political parties must answer the question of who financed their political campaigns in the just-ended general elections, as opposed to allegedly targeting the PF.
We can't be tolerating double standards. And I want to urge Honorable Mwila, you are not under any obligation to go and answer such useless questions, because they are not backed up by law. If we want to be disclosing sources of funding for political parties, let's take that bill that you rejected, Ms. Hakainde Hichilema. Let's take that bill that you rejected, the UPND, and enact it. Then it will compel all of us to disclose who is funding us and how much we have raised for political activities. It's simple.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Being a Christian nation, matters pertaining to gay rights are classified as being sensitive, but it must be noted that the LGBT community has been in existence in Zambia, but however, successive governments have refused to recognize it, as that contradicts Christian principles and the Zambian culture. Wednesday, 15 September 2021, PF member of the Central Committee, Rafael Nakachinda, accused the UPND government of seeking to recognize gay rights.
The Democrats in the US and President of the US, the party he leads, their policy is very clear. They will only work with governments and political leaders on any continent of the world that promote gays' rights, lesbianism. He has even proposed that now they are going to be imposing sanctions against African leaders who do not promote these rights. And that is where our president is going, as if it's an achievement.
But Minister of Information and Media, Chushi Kasanda, says the UPND administration does not support gay rights and upholds the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation.
The president will also be holding bilateral meetings with other world leaders to ensure international cooperation, including economic promotion for the benefit of all Zambians. Government wishes to further clarify that while the UPND manifesto is very clear on the respect of human rights, it does not promote gay rights. The UPND government recognizes and upholds Zambia as a Christian nation, both in principle and in practice. Government calls upon citizens who are rejoicing the new dawn to sympathize, forgive, and ignore the bitterness being exhibited by those who are grieving over the loss of the 12th August general elections.
The minister also cautioned people against abusing their freedom of speech by trying to make fake narratives against the government.
Government is particularly disturbed to learn that comments made by the former Minister of Water Development, Mr. Rafael Nakachinda, on the scheduled official trip to the United States of America by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, has injured some people due to the immature, malicious, and disrespectful nature. While we acknowledge and reaffirm that Mr. Nakachinda has a right to exercise his freedom of expression, we find the comments he made about the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to be shrouded in bitterness and inappropriate for a former cabinet minister who should be a role model to the young people.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, welcome back. Well, there has been talks about the new Minister of Information and Media, that she is quite a good-looking lady. I feel this position has got has attracted beautiful women.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to appreciate God's creation. Let's talk of Madam Dora Celia. She was holding that position in the previous government.
Yes, she was.
And trust me, I feel it's worth it. Like, if you're gonna be, it's like public relations officer, okay?
Yes.
If you're going to have someone who's going to do your PR work, they just have a certain way that they need to look.
To be presentable, yes.
Very representable. Anyway, kudos to that one. So now getting on to our next story, the president actually, like I mentioned earlier, the thought that I lost while we were talking about bursaries and free education, the president said the procurement sector is actually in a crisis because government officials were giving the tenders to themselves.
Yeah. Definitely, and that's something which the president did touch on, that those who were awarded tenders will have to face the rule of law, because procurement issues are always tricky, especially in Zambia.
I know.
Very tricky.
And that has been happening a lot. There were some ghost teachers.
On payroll, and they're not even...
And we have over 1,000 teachers that are actually just staying home after
Yes.
the colleges and stuff like that. It is just so sad that there are so many things that are being said in a mess. At some point, there were some claims that we are actually very broke. There's no money in the, what do you call it, the treasury?
In the reserves, yes. The reserves were empty.
But then here's the thing: all the time, even before a Patriotic Front actually came into power, after the MMD, when the PF came, they came with their talks as well.
Yeah.
There are some things that the Patriotic Front said that the MMD did that were not seen while MMD was in power. So we are expecting to hear more. There has been quite a number of councillors or former councillors and former ministers that are actually under investigations with the Anti-Corruption Commission and other agencies. There are rumors of a bank being bought with its assets worth 300 million kwacha. They have not actually said which minister or which councillor is actually under investigation for such, because it's in court and it's still under investigation, so they don't want to jeopardize the investigations and stuff like that. So there has been so much that has been going on. We have heard so much from the now government, what the former ruling party has done or what they have been doing. And also, I don't know how true it is when it comes to the type of cars that ministers will be driving under the ruling UPND and what they were driving in the Patriotic Front. So there are quite some changes. Like I said, I am giving the current government 3 years because I feel there's so many things that they need to do to fix what they think was not right.
You know, whenever there's a transition of power, these things are always expected. One thing which President Hakainde Hichilema did state when he addressed the ministers, when he inducted them, is that any one of the ministers who do not live up to their mandate in their ministry will be dealt with. I think that's a good sign when the president actually gives out that instruction that you've been given this assignment, make sure that you carry it out and you serve the people of Zambia.
And I also think the main concern with him talking about government officials giving themselves tenders is because they were putting some ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, because it's just a human mental type of, it's a certain behavior, mentality. If I'm going to buy something and sell it to myself, of course I'll double the price. Just saying. I think that's the main concern. I feel there's nothing wrong with giving yourself a tender when you can do the job.
Yeah, I think the issue here is about accountability.
Exactly.
Again, because you need to be accountable for your procurement, your actions as a ministry, as a member of parliament. You need to be accountable. I think that's the main thing which has been stressed by our new government, to be accountable for your actions.
3 years. I'm giving them 3 years. I'm giving them 3 years. Let's take a look at this clip. We'll be back.
Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says there is no time to waste in delivering the change that his administration promised the Zambian people. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony of some nominated ministers, provincial ministers and senior government officials at State House Wednesday, the head of state says he wants to see all those appointed in various capacities to get to work without giving excuses. And President Hichilema says he will, once he returns from the United States of America, be announcing measures his administration will put in place to control tender procurement processes, which he says has been abused by those who hold power.
The next time I stand here, I will expect a brief that I will share with the public on the measures we've taken to control tenderpreneurs who sit in government ministries, either as minister, PS, or director. All they do is chase tenders and give themselves tenders at a high price. I want to announce to the public, Secretary of the Cabinet, Vice President, specific tracked measures. Your officials in these governments that have gone before were buying fertilizer at $1,200 per ton, when at that price the price of fertilizer was $450 per ton.
And the president has tasked Zambians not to drop guard in the fight against COVID-19, which he says the fourth wave might affect the recovery of the economy if it finds the country unprepared. This is the more reason why the president has appointed Dr. Roma Chilengo as COVID-19 advisor to the president.
We are very pleased today, Madam Vice President, that we have an advisor to deal with the coronavirus pandemic, to bring that pandemic within the challenges that we face under control. Without bringing it under control, it will be very difficult to achieve the agenda of reconstructing the economy, because COVID will stand in our way.
The president has also appointed and sworn in Collins Njovu as new Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Elias Mubanga as Small and Medium Enterprise Development Minister, Credo Najua as Central Province Minister, and Robert Rihafu as Northwestern Province Minister.
Aye. Collins Njovu. Mubanga Elias. Credo Najua. Robert Rihafu. Bradford Mnaukupe Machila. Oliver Mvita Kalabo, John Mufunga, Tito Kayumba, Lawrence Manananga, Roma Chilengi.
Do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the President of the Republic of Zambia.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Yeah.
The induction of our new ministers. What do you think of the new ministries which have been introduced by the government?
What do I think? I think I can't judge now. Apart from one which I am aware of, the green economy.
Green economy, yes.
I am happy that that has been introduced.
Yeah.
And also, which it was there though, the one for youths and arts.
Youth development, yeah.
Yes, that's also.
The small medium enterprise, I think, is
my favorite. Is that one, the SMEs. I'm happy that they now have a ministry, which means it will give them an opportunity to have access to funds that they need to start a business. And I think that will improve the entrepreneurship in Zambia for unemployed youths that have business ideas. There's so much monopoly going on, but I feel with having a ministry attached to that, they will have an opportunity. I just wasn't happy, and I am still not happy that there's no ministry that looks at women and children.
On that point, actually, the Ministry of Gender was actually one of the ministries which was moved to under another umbrella ministry.
Yes, I feel it being under another ministry is too much work for that particular ministry. It's like a department. Okay, I feel it being its own ministry, it's just that they were not effectively working to what they were supposed to do, hence it's being removed, like other ministries as well. We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. morning. How are you?
We're all right, thank you. How are you?
Thank you, sir.
I'm all right. I'm Mr. Kalusa.
Okay, Mr. Kalusa, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from South.
Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
That program came.
Yes.
And it sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're losing you. Can you hear us?
Yeah,
yes, please go ahead. You were breaking. Yes, please.
We feel what Mr. Chinda should do is to give this government time to settle. Let them settle and let them give them chance. We were under fear and we saw how crude that regime was. Some of us were victims of victimization by the cadres while serving in public offices. Criticizing, you can criticize up to a certain time. We saw the late President Minister Michael Susatata. He also went to America to attend those important meetings. So let's not Mr. Kachinda set his lunch too far by teasing the president that the elections cannot change that. That's not fair. We all know that this government is taking its time. Without boring you much, let me just say people have planted this country, these people have rooted this country, let them just wait and see to see what was going to happen. In my closing remarks, if he needs to marry a woman, we don't expect that woman to fall pregnant and give birth within a month. That's not practical. So let them give UPNB government a chance to come up with their budget and then wait for their new policies. And then let them be criticized maybe after a year or two. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. K. Quite interesting observation. Let's give the current administration time to actually work. He's mentioned he's put a duration at least 1 year or two to actually give them space.
Yes, and I like that example he gave. When you marry a woman, you don't expect her to fall pregnant in the same month.
Quite a very interesting theory right there, but yeah, anyways, what were we talking about? We're talking about the ministries that have been introduced and those that were actually removed. One of them, which was Ministry of Religious Affairs, which was removed. Half of the stakeholders mentioned to say they actually were not making different churches come together and complain about certain things and stuff like that. So it's a good and a bad thing. 50-50, mixed emotions. Yeah.
True.
Hello?
Yes, Madam Precious.
Yes, Vash Precious, good morning.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, the first program that for Kuyaman Biosuja Wang Padimana Barate or Kashinga. One of the 10 years. We have to work with each other. Leno problem na kwa plan tamale la kwa hiyo. Kwa problem wale ni kwa kwa market. Kwa kasi. Kwa kwa market. Kwa kishia ni kishia kwa kupatana. Kwa problem haya kana ni kwa shamba pale kwa if you have enough to do it, manage to win and go shop here, go right to Bobby and just to Gambia. Later on, I Kachinda, get to Wananda, Yoga, Valuti, and quite education that you can pick up a pen to come by you. The body is in about the shop way. So I don't have Kachinda, please, but Papa again to home day. Because you be in education for my bishop to take a year. To pay chance to pay the time we have to go to the window. That's what I'm saying to so please, Zanathan Kachinda, to pay the chance we have to one day. The first container of kwibira bina Zambia iyo. Free education bwana kusoma education.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Worship Precious is one of our top callers when it comes to the breakfast show. He always has something to say depending on what topic. Yeah, Worship Precious. We don't know his real name. He just comes to say I'm Worship Precious from the Copper Belt. So his contribution is saying there's so many things that the Patriotic Front did, which was one of the concerns from the stakeholders as well. Why is Raphael Nakachinda coming out now that it's the new administration? Where was he when it was Patriotic Front ruling? He's mentioned quite a number of things. One of them, which is the fire tenders. We can mention quite a few. The 48 houses, the ghost workers, the burning of markets, which are now under construction. And he has also mentioned that we need to give some talk. We need to give time to the current administration to actually do their job. And we're getting into our last story that made headlines during the course of the week before we jump into our interview for the day. Is the only female presidential candidate that was on the ballot on the just ended general elections, which is Madam Kateka from the new party. She mentioned to say if the petitions that are in court currently, which majority are from the UPND, go through, which means the current government, if they win the petitions, there's a possibility of it becoming a one-party state, because there will be the majority in parliament, which means them passing half of the laws and stuff like that. It sounds funny, but it's somehow the sad truth. Yeah,
this one-party state has been making a lot of rounds actually this week. A lot of people have been going back and forth about it. That was Madam Kateka from the New Heritage Party?
Yes, New Heritage Party. Okay. And also defense. Shaka Fuswa mentioned to say he didn't have anything to do with the ballots, the pre-marked ballots, because some UPND candidates, both mayoral and the council seats, are claiming to say that the results were not legit. And also there has been some confession that there is some offices that received pre-marked ballots during the election. So that is in court. About more than 25 petitions are currently ongoing, and we're waiting to see which one will actually rule the day. But half of the candidates that are petitioning are the ones from the ruling UPND. So let's take a look at this, and then after that we'll quickly switch to our interview.
The just ended 2021 general elections saw the United Party for National Development UPND not only winning the presidential seat, but also emerging as the party with the most members of parliament. Almost 50 parliamentary seats have, however, been petitioned by the UPND as they feel they were marred with irregularities. The New Heritage Party has called on President Hakainde Hichilema as the head of state and president of the UPND to advise his aggrieved candidates against petitioning the seats, despite it being the constitutional right, stating that this could result in a one-party state. New Heritage Party President Mr. Shala Kateka, addressing the media Wednesday, explains that only 18 seats are needed for the UPND to garner a 2/3 majority, which will enable them to pass laws with ease.
There was malpractice and things like that. However, the UPND can also decide not to stand in the elections to attain that 2/3 majority, as this will be the beginning of their downfall. Allow me to share a scripture in 1 Corinthians 10:23. The Bible says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. So yes, you can do this, but it might not be helpful for you. All things are lawful for me, but not all things edify. Let no one seek his own, but each one the other's well-being. Our advice would be, please, by all means, let us prevent the country from becoming a de facto one-party state.
Ms. Kateka has also called for clear separation of power in the new administration, stating that there should be a clear-cut difference between operations of the party in government and the government itself. Meanwhile, Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP Executive Director Mr. George Chimembe, in a phone interview, has described the situation of election petitions as a dilemma, stating that while the UPND stand a high chance of having a 2/3 majority in parliament, they cannot be stopped from exercising the constitutional right.
These petitions are coming from the fact that there were a lot of electoral malpractices, and so much as we would want to speak against, those that are lost, not to go ahead petitioning, but we are also left in an awkward situation where if we don't do anything, then we are perpetuating what we witnessed.
The New Heritage Party has also promised to be offering objective checks and balances to the new government, stating that the former ruling Patriotic Front, while being the largest opposition, cannot be objective in their criticism. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So there you have it, quite a number of interesting things that happened in the course of a week. Hope you did some catch-up in case you missed out on one or two. We're just trying to update you on the stories that made headlines. We didn't have a topic of discussion, so we threw it to you, the viewers, to choose which story you think you can actually comment on. Now, quickly before we actually close the show, because we're headed to the dying minutes of the show, we'll have our guest and we'll have a discussion on different topics when it comes to youth empowerment and also what the expectations of the youths from the current government. And then after that, we might say bye. But for now, let's take a break and then we'll be back on the other side.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we are saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. Now, quickly getting into our interview of the day, I have a political consultant by the name of Mr. Sunday Kabaso, and we'll be just getting into the depth of youths and also what we should expect from the current government. So quickly getting into the current problem that Zambian youths are facing, which is unemployment levels.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning, thanks.
How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. It's good to
coming
see you. Yeah.
Happy New Year. I haven't seen you.
It's good to see you, Fred. Yeah.
So
After a while.
into it. Let's get into youth unemployment.
Yeah. Well, the issue of unemployment is it's not a new phenomenon to Zambia, Africa, or the world. The US is experiencing the same, South Africa the same. That's why you see in South Africa there's a lot of people, stealing from moving trucks and vehicles.
Yes.
So it's not a unique situation to Zambia. But of course, what path we take is what will make us unique in terms of sorting out the problem of unemployment in youths. Yeah, so basically, it's good we have a new government.
A lot of expectations.
Yeah, which I feel people are very fast and they really want to see the government do something, because already the other day you saw students or graduates and some employed teachers who have not been on the payroll going to the community house, HH's house, to protest. So I feel there's a big issue that the new government has to look into. It's probably maybe the PF government didn't do something properly, or they missed out on something. They did what they could, but the UPND government has a very big task, because the people that gave them a vote, they owe a vote to the youth.
Yeah, majority
of them
from the youth.
Exactly, and these are the people that they owe.
So now getting into it, what do you think would be a strategic plan to get rid of unemployment, the high unemployment level in Zambia?
First and foremost, and I think I should plead with the president that he should not get rid of P.S. Kalumba, the permanent secretary, from general education, because everything starts and ends with education. If general education is not realigned, you know, if our education system is not realigned, then we'll have a big problem. And that problem is going to affect tertiary education. You know, it starts from elementary education. So if children in schools are taught not only theoretical things, because this is the biggest problem we have. I am a graduate of the University of Zambia, and today if you asked me what I would ask for between self-employment and being employed by someone else, I would prefer being employed. Because that's what even lecturers told me. Oh, when you get done with this school, with your program study, somebody's going to employ you, you know. There's always that feeding of the mind that we only can get employed. But also, I think, I always talk about this when I'm with my friends, that the UPND government or even the PF government might have tried to deal with this issue, you know. So the UPND government promised jobs to the youth. And the youths are expectant of a certain kind of job creation, and that is to get employed in the government. But I should reiterate one point, that the civil service is full. You know, it cannot accommodate all graduates. And so when I'm left out of the application process, I shouldn't feel I've just been left because I'm not qualified. It's because there's overwhelming response.
There's no vacancy.
Exactly, exactly. Even if there's a vacancy, but there will just be few numbers as compared to the ratios we have of unemployed people. So the government will be doing the right thing, but we, the youths and those who are expecting employment, will feel disappointed because we feel the only employment is getting in the government. We forget there's also the private sector. Of course, we can also employ ourselves. What we should be crying for now as youths is to own our economy. And how can we own our economy is to advocate for good policies that will enable us to even go to a bank, ask for a loan, probably an interest-free loan, you know, so that we build ourselves. And I should also be quick to mention that let ZRA and also PACRA check their ways of doing things. It should be favorable to the youth. It shouldn't disadvantage Zambians and youths from establishing their own companies, you know. It shouldn't be an archaic process that disadvantages the young people.
Okay, so now we are appealing to the government, youth empowerment, youth this, we need employment and stuff like that. We are trying to have young people into roles, policy making. How do you think we are ready?
Absolutely,
for that policy formulation roles?
Absolutely.
Do you think we are ready? Do you think we have the right mentality to actually be put in a seat to make such roles?
Well, we are ready, but I like it that you use the mentality, the right mentality.
Right mentality.
Yeah. So we are ready as youths to take up very critical roles in society. You know, when you read the 2015 Youth National Policy, it will tell you that they are advancing for the youth participation in policy making, and they know that youths can make it, and they believe that youths are the drivers of every development. I think, look at the KKs, the Mwangankumbulas. How old were they when they
got into power? Exactly,
and I feel youths are ready. They've not just been presented the opportunity. I can talk about the former president of, the assassinated president of Burkina Faso, Sankara. He was very young. Yeah, very young. But he managed to transform his country. So this issue of are they ready or not? Yes, we might have, we might not be in the right mentality, but situations also can make you not to be in the right mental of your mind to contribute towards something.
Okay, so now I'm still dwelling on the policy formulation roles, because I feel you need to be in a certain position for you to be considered and recognized that you're able to do that job. Do you think the young people are doing enough to send out a word to say we are ready for the policy formulation role?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Except we are being told we're not experienced.
We're even called disgruntled.
Is it?
We're even called disgruntled.
Yeah, so they tell us we are not experienced, and they keep bringing each other back. I feel the people born in the 60s are disadvantaging the younger people. And you see there's a ratio, the ratio between the younger ones and the old people, it keeps on increasing, you know. The old people are getting more advantaged, and the younger people are getting more disadvantaged to participate in these issues. Because honestly speaking, I hope and pray that Honorable Mutati, the Minister of...
Mr. Felix Mutati.
The Minister of Technology and Science. That's a very important... and in this age where you have young people doing great things in society but cannot be recognized by the government, I feel the Honorable surround himself with young people. Because you find that some of these old people, I'm not looking down on them. No.
Yeah.
I know there are some people who are very good, trying to improve the well-being of youths. But you find that some of these people are always disadvantaging the younger ones. Look, go at the Invest of Zambia. You find that the old people there, you know, old people.
So we gotta take over.
and it just remains in those sayings, you know. They just say Mitikula Impanga and go that. They forget that they are not giving chances to young people.
Okay, so now I know this talk between you and me has been about youth empowerment, young people and stuff like that. I feel this is because majority of the voters that we got during the just ended general election, majority of the voters came from the young people. And also, even when the Electoral Commission of Zambia was talking about how many registered voters we had, they mentioned to say majority of them that had registered were youths. So now we're talking of a new dawn. Is it a UPND success, or we're going to tag it as a youth success?
First of all, when the UPN won, they
were you excited?
Yeah, I mean, you have a new beginning, you know. I can't say that. I voted for what I thought was right.
Getting into it.
Yeah, so when the UPN won, a lot of people celebrated, but some of us were thinking, okay, is it a new dawn, or is it taking it to the darkest point? You know, this is a Zambian success story, particularly a youth success story, and it also should remind the old people that all across history, politically in Zambia, the youth have always come out victorious. Starting with the colonial masters, the youths, they drove them away, the Kaundas. You come to the UNIP, they were driven away by the youth. Talk about the MMD itself, they were removed by the youth. And I cannot lie, coming from this expertise of a citizen scientist and the cultural expert, I feel the PF undoubtedly were uprooted by the youth. So this is a youth success, and youths should now realize that they have more power than anybody. They have power in their hands. They can do anything. And I also want to pass an appeal to our politicians to not think that youths are only tools to give them jobs. Youths should be respected and given what I think they deserve. Youths are capable of contributing to the well-being of this country, and it shouldn't only end that youths they have the potential to change government.
And then we sit and
you know, and we are celebrating that. Okay, yeah, we brought the new dawn. I am optimistic because I already have seen some youthful appointments, which is very good.
Members of parliament, young people.
And even the way they debate, you know, I take keen interest in the parliament of Zambia. what you notice that the way these youths, when Kangombes, you know, the way they debate is quite, and civilized. As opposed to, I'm sorry, but as opposed to the old folks. Old folks debate with anger, you know. They debate with arguments that is negative criticism. It doesn't impact in any way sometimes. That goes both to ruling and opposition political party. When you look at the young people in parliament, and the other day, you know, they had notebooks. They were writing every point the president was talking about. Immediately came out of parliament, they put out some good comments. But the old folks, you know.
We're not looking down on old folks. We're just
no. Yeah, we're not looking
the young people are now slowly taking
over,
which is a good thing.
Very good.
So now, before I let you go,
sure.
Mr. Kabaso. Let's talk about you as an individual, political consultant. What are your expectations from the new administration as an individual?
As an individual, I do not expect something more than developing the well-being of myself and those around me. Because when my life is developed, and I mean financially stable, I should be financially stable, not waiting for the government to come and tell you, man, you need to be, no.
Yeah, sure.
I want a fair share of the business environment with the foreign entities. I should be able to establish my business. You know, I shouldn't, something should actually be exempted from youths. You know, let youths own some businesses that they can be exempted from, and later when they've grown to such extents that they have to pay certain, you know, exorbitant taxes, let that be. But as it stands, my expectation is, let Zambia be developed by Zambians, because no foreigner is ever going to come here to develop us. We can give tenders, we can give jobs, and you know, we can favor foreign entities. Those do not come here to play. They come to make money, and that money, exactly. Once they make it, they go back.
Okay, thank you so much for coming through. It was a great interview. Well, for those of you that are joining us, unfortunately, this is the dying minutes of the show. We're just having a conversation with a political consultant, Mr. Sunday Kabaso. We touched down on quite a number of issues, one of them being unemployment levels and also putting youths into critical policy formulation roles, and also the new dawn, is it a UPND success or a youth success? Now, thank you so much to everybody that came through via Facebook, and also those that stayed tuned from the time the show started up until now. Well, from me, Precious Mzea Sakaleji, our guest of today, Mr. Sunday Kabaso, not forgetting my co-host, Michael Chota, and also Elijah Chifita on the other side on the camera, and also Mr. Fred Munungwe upstairs in the control room. And also on behalf of the Camnet TV crew, it's have a beautiful day, and thank you for watching. Pleasant viewing.